For hours, Israel faced overlapping missile and rocket fire from more than one axis, with alerts and impacts stretching from the north to the center and south. The IRGC cast this as the 40th wave of Operation True Promise 4 and said it was designed to maintain sustained fire targeting more than 50 sites across Israeli territory. Haifa, Tel Aviv, Be'er Sheva, 3 cities named, 3 sectors of the defense grid under pressure at the same time. Iran cast the wave as a joint operation with Hezbollah from the opening salvo to the last, a claim Israel has not independently confirmed. The IRGC said the wave used Qadr, Emad, Kheibar Shekan, and Fattah missiles, though that weapon mix has not been independently verified. If accurate, it would represent 4 different missile families, each with different range profiles and interception challenges. The variety would not be random, firing different missile types in the same wave forces Israel's defense systems to classify, track, and engage multiple threat profiles simultaneously. Each missile type requires a different interception solution. Mixing them is how you stress a layered defense architecture beyond its design parameters. Arrow engages one type. David's Sling engages another. Iron Dome handles a third. When all 3 are firing at different missile profiles arriving from different angles at different altitudes, the system is no longer operating in sequence. It is operating at capacity. Hezbollah matched the scale. The group launched roughly 200 rockets and drones over several hours, mainly at northern Israel, but with some long-range fire also triggering alerts deeper inside the country. Hundreds of Hezbollah rockets and drones arrived in the same broader window as Iranian missile fire, in what Tehran described as an integrated operation. The combined volume turns the barrage from a military problem into a mathematical one. Every interceptor that engages a Hezbollah rocket is one not available for an Iranian ballistic missile. Every radar tracking incoming fire from Lebanon is one not watching the eastern horizon. The joint operation did not just double the threat, it multiplied the complexity. If the timing was as overlapping as Iran claims, Hezbollah rockets and Iranian ballistic missiles would have been arriving in the same window, forcing Israel to run its northern and central defense sectors at full capacity at once. That is the operational meaning Tehran attaches to the word joint. The rocket fire triggered mass sirens across Israel. Thousands rushed to bomb shelters as civil defense systems responded. The IDF urged residents in northern communities to remain inside shelters until further guidance. Israel's National Ambulance Service said at least 2 people were injured by flying debris. In the northern town of Be'er, a rocket struck a home, injuring a woman inside. Several other residents in the area suffered anxiety attacks and required medical assistance. The physical casualties remain low, but hours of sustained alerts, hours of sirens and shelter runs, hours of not knowing whether the next impact will be a field or a bedroom, leaves a mark that does not appear in any casualty report. The Be'er strike is the detail that cuts through the numbers. Not a military base, not a radar installation, a home, a woman inside it. A rocket that found a residential address in a town that most people outside Israel have never heard of. The war at the macro level is about missile counts and interception rates and defense grid saturation. The war at the human level is about a woman in a house in Be'er who did not reach the shelter in time. The IRGC's statement framed the wave in maximalist terms. The operation inflicted painful blows on military bases from Haifa in the north, Tel Aviv in the center, and Be'er Sheva in the south, the statement said. It added that Zionist regime media sources themselves have admitted that missile launches from Iran have increased noticeably and casualties have risen. Those are Iran's words, not a verified assessment. Israel has not confirmed 50 sites struck, but the IRGC is no longer claiming individual hits. It is claiming coverage. The shift from "we hit a target" to "we covered the country" reflects a campaign that measures success in geographic saturation, not precision. The wave did not stop at Israel's borders. The IRGC also claimed strikes on sites linked to Al-Azraq in Jordan and the Al-Kharj area in Saudi Arabia, but those reported hits have not been independently verified. Al-Azraq hosts American aircraft, and Al-Kharj is the location of Prince Sultan Air Base, from which U.S. refueling tankers had been operating. If those claims hold, they would put direct pressure on the logistics chain supporting U.S. air operations. Saudi Arabia's defense ministry said its air defenses intercepted and destroyed drones heading toward the Shaybah oil field, one of the kingdom's most critical energy assets. Saudi forces also shot down drones over the empty quarter and parts of the eastern region. Shaybah has appeared on Iran's target list repeatedly throughout this conflict. Each time, Saudi defenses have claimed successful interception. But the persistence of the targeting reveals a strategy. Keep probing the same high-value asset until the defense either fails or the interceptor stockpile runs low enough to create a gap. Shaybah is not just an oil field. It is a symbol of Saudi economic sovereignty. Every drone that gets close to it, even if intercepted, reminds Riyadh that the cost of hosting American bases now includes defending its most valuable energy assets around the clock. The battlefield expanded further. Reports from Iraq pointed to Iran-aligned factions, including groups tied to the Islamic resistance in Iraq, claiming attacks on U.S. facilities. Their involvement adds another vector to a campaign that already spans Iran, Lebanon, the Gulf, and the Maritime corridors. Iraq was supposed to be a stabilized theater. American bases there were positioned for deterrence, not active combat. If Iranian-aligned Iraqi militias are now launching attacks alongside IRGC waves, the front line has no geographic limit. The war has escaped the borders of the countries that started it and is now being fought by proxies and allies across a territory that stretches from Beirut to Baghdad. The Gulf absorbed more hits. Al Jazeera reported that a drone strike caused a minor fire at a residential building near Dubai Creek Harbor. Local authorities said the blaze was quickly contained. Dubai Creek Harbor sits in the heart of the city's newest development corridor, surrounded by luxury towers and commercial projects. A fire there, however minor, sends a signal that no part of the Gulf's built environment is outside the reach of this war. The physical damage was small. The reputational damage accumulates with every incident. At sea, Reuters reported that one tanker near Iraq's Khor al-Zubair port appeared to have been targeted by an Iranian remote-controlled explosive boat, while a second tanker off Kuwait was damaged in a separate blast. The attack method matters. Explosive-laden boats are cheap, difficult to detect, and effective against slow-moving tankers near port approaches. They do not require the guidance that ballistic missiles need. They require proximity, and in the confined waters near loading terminals, proximity is guaranteed. The tanker attacks are evidence that Iran's campaign at sea is not limited to the Strait of Hormuz. It extends to the ports where oil begins its journey. The choke point is no longer just the strait. It is every loading terminal within range of a small boat. The IRGC described the 40th wave as a powerful and unified front against both the United States and Israel. Language meant to frame the operation as a campaign rather than a one-off retaliation. Whether the wave achieved its military objectives or was largely intercepted is a question neither side has answered with evidence. But the operational concept, by its own description, the 40th wave is among the most complex joint operations Iran and Hezbollah have publicly claimed since the war began. Consider what hours of sustained fire means for the defenders. Interceptor magazines have finite depth. Radar operators have finite concentration. Decision loops that function cleanly at hour 1 degrade by hour 4. Crew rotations that work in training may not hold under sustained live fire. If Iran can maintain that tempo and coordinate it with hundreds of Hezbollah rockets arriving from a second axis, it is not testing whether Israel's defenses work. It is testing how long they work. And the answer to that question determines whether the 41st wave is even more ambitious than the 40th. Iran is not trying to destroy Iron Dome in a single blow. It is trying to exhaust it over time, wave by wave, hour by hour, missile family by missile family. The 40th wave was not the climax. It was the proof of concept. Hours of coordinated fire from two countries if Iran's timeline holds. If Tehran can do it once, it can do it again. And each time, the defenders start a little more tired than the wave before. Attrition does not announce itself. It accumulates silently until the system that appeared invincible at wave 1 starts showing cracks at wave 40. 40 waves, hours of overlapping fire, hundreds of rockets and drones, multiple missile families, strikes claimed on bases in Jordan and Saudi Arabia, tankers hit near Qasr, drones over Dubai, an Iraqi militia joining the campaign, a woman injured in her home in Be'ina. The war that began on February 28th as a US-Israeli strike on Iran has metastasized into a multi-front, multi-actor, multi-domain conflict stretching from the Mediterranean to the Persian Gulf. And the IRGC's message after Wave 40 was not that the campaign is concluding. It was that the campaign is designed to continue until the enemy surrenders completely. 40 waves in, and the pace is not slowing. It is compounding. Subscribe to WLA for daily geopolitical analysis.